Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon on this chilly Wednesday afternoon. Thank you for joining us on this platform, acknowledged as Project 365. I am Portia Wheatley. I am the founder and the president of a nonprofit organization acknowledged as Trophy of Life Incorporated. And we have the great opportunity, the privilege, and most of all, the God assignment to render hope, encouragement, and inspiration to you, our audience across the world. I'm bringing in my co-host.
Hello, everyone. My name is Takira Swan, and I am so happy to be here with you this afternoon. Before we bring on our guests, I just want to remind all of you to please go to our YouTube page, like, share, subscribe, because that is how you can help us spread hope, encouragement, and inspiration to the entire world.
To the entire world. We're bringing hope, encouragement, and inspiration to you, our audience, across the whole world. So that's a blessing within itself. Well, today, our topic is going to be hot. It's going to be good. It's going to be great. It's going to be informative. It is going to be a great share. And I'm grateful to God that you, Sarita Price, accepted our invitation to come and share with us. I really do appreciate that. And our topic today is the process of healing what hurt you so you won't bleed on people that didn't cut you. Before she even starts, that sounds so interesting. So we're going to hear today from Sarita Price, who's going to share with us some from this topic that's been on her heart for a minute, and I've already shared with her whatever she is supposed to share with us today. That's exactly what we want to hear on today. And I'm thinking, I let her know that I shared or I read this particular topic a couple of times, and each time that I read it, you know, it's like another thought came in my mind. It was whether it was an individual or a situation, a scenario, or whatever. But this topic is something that I believe the world definitely needs to hear. So I'm going to step back, Sarita, and I'm going to allow you to have the platform. Thanks again. From the state of Tennessee, right?
That's correct. Memphis,
all right,
Tennessee.
You got it. You have it. All right, you got it.
All right. Good evening or good afternoon, I should say, everyone. And first, I want to thank Portia. Thank you for this opportunity to be able to share this topic with you. As you stated, it has been on my heart for a while. And I think it's a great conversation, a great topic to discuss, especially as we are in the process of going into a brand new year. And I just, you know, with these last 18 plus months have been a tremendous strain, not only on the human body, but the mind. You know, during this pandemic, you have people dealing with depression, anxiety, stress, and the list goes on, dealing with the loss of jobs, the loss of loved ones, grief, relationship failures. The suicide rate is at an all-time high, and the list goes on. But many times, what I am seeing, and even just from a personal perspective, many of these situations already existed before the pandemic. You know, dealing with the emotional distress of the pandemic, of course, has heightened these, you know, the depression rate, the anxiety, and many of these emotional and mental disorders cause hurt and pain and frustration, and yes, even bitterness. Everyone deals with situations in different ways. So, you know, really trying to some choose to ignore it in the name of what we call keeping the peace. There are signs of strength of, oh, I'm fine. A lot of us said, you know, I'm fine. But really on the inside, you're truly in distress and you're hurting. So what I really want to share with you today are some steps on how to go through the healing process. Step number one is just like with anything. you need to admit that you're hurting. You need to know that, no, I'm not okay. I'm not all right. You got to dig deep and find the root cause of your pain. Admitting is the first step that I'm not okay. You got to find the root cause, and what we used to say in the spiritual realm, you got to cut it off at the root. Some of these depression, anxiety, whatever we're dealing with, have never really been dealt with from childhood. Some of these are deep rooted in childhood. Me personally, myself, I went through as a child, I was sexually molested by a relative, an uncle of mine. It took me in my 30s, almost 40s, to deal with this. It affected a lot of relationships. You know, I'm fine, everything's okay. But sometimes the hurt is so traumatic that some even suppress the pain. We suppress, and when I think about depression, I think about suppressions. Well, sometimes we suppress that person because of the pain to think about him or her. You see, sometimes depression originates not because of someone or something. Depression comes about because you can't be who you really are, who you designed to be. You depress you. Depression leads to suppression. Sometimes it leads to putting on that mask of trying to be someone else. That someone else, the society says, will accept. This leads to what I call identity crisis. It does not matter your socioeconomic status. It can hit in all of the areas. One of the biggest mistakes we make is allowing society to define who we are. This strategy happens through TV. You see it through radio, through music, through magazines, and God forbid, social media now more than ever. And sadly to say, even in church, you put on a mask in church. You must look a certain way. You must be part of a certain group. You must drive a certain car, live in a certain home. You must do all these things in order to fit in. So many who pursue these things without placing God first in their lives truly are miserable. I'm one of those ones, a licensed ordained preacher, sitting in church, big smile on my face. I was miserable. So these individuals, as I was one of those individuals, you shared those unhappy, the tears of unhappiness at night when no one else around can see. This is the trick of the enemy, to keep you in bondage. The second step is, first, you need to admit. The second thing is you need to take action. That's why I chose the topic. If you don't heal what hurt you, you'll bleed on people who didn't cut you. Now, is that really fair? You got to choose to be better, not bitter. That's a decision. Everything that I personally went through in my life, dealing with the trauma of being sexually molested by a relative, didn't really deal with that all through high school. Then got married, went through a kind of a verbally abusive marriage. I still hadn't dealt with it. And then going through a bitter divorce. And that's why, I put God in the center of everything, because I refuse to be bitter. God, I wanted to be better. So sometime, as I stated, when you are single, I'm single now. Some of us, I've been on this single, trying to date a little bit, a little online dating. I've tried it. And I have ran into so many, not just women, but men as well, that trying to date and they're still hurting. Before we can have a conversation, You're talking about what your ex-wife did you, the whole conversation about what your ex-wife or ex-girlfriend. No, you're not ready for a relationship because you are not healed. And I'm not going to give you the chance to bleed on me. So, that's one of those things you have to heal. Stop trying to date, get yourself together, focus on you. And even in marital problems, they originate from unhealed partners. That brings trauma to the marriage that has not yet been dealt with. That's why sometimes marriages, you have trauma. As they call it, you bring in baggage to that you haven't dealt with. So you're bleeding on your spouse. Is that really fair? So these are some of the things that, you got to take action. So part number 3, we talk about you must admit there's an issue. Number 2, you got to take action. And part of the action, number 3, is find a solution. You got to start the process of healing. Sometimes that even involves seeking a counselor or a therapist. I always say this, and I say it to me, it's no joking matter. I had to see a therapist. And I told my friends, it's okay to go lie on somebody's couch. If I need to go do that right now, guess what? Sarita will. Okay? I don't care about my title, what I do. If I need that, I'm going to go see my therapist. I actually had a Christian counselor, Christian therapist. She was wonderful. She actually set me on a trajectory that I am on right now. It just totally changed my life. Also, too, I love this quote by Dr. Anita Phillips. She said, prayer is your weapon, but therapy is your strategy. Therapy starts you on this healing journey of getting to know you. Many times, as I talked about earlier, we suppress who we really are because of the shame and the guilt. You have to get to know you, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, be real with you, embrace you, love you, get to know God, form a relationship with God, embrace Him. Embrace His word, embrace the Holy Trinity, love God, love yourself to gain yourself. Embrace the new woman or the new man. Let who you are in Christ determine what you do. So speaking from experience, once you are free, you'll never want to go back to, being in that situation. It is a sentiment that you can truly express in words. It's then that you can truly live your life and live your life more abundantly once you find out who you are, once you are free to be who you are. So I say this, start in 2022, start it off right. Seek the help you need to stop the bleeding so you can live and live a whole life to be who God designed you to be. Many times we say that we're going into the new year, I want to do this, I want to do that, but yet you have not healed. You can't truly, from experience, during the pandemic, last year's more of testimony, I actually contracted COVID in 2020, recovered. But I'm going to tell you what, during that process, it was kind of I was healing my body, but mentally I was healing as well. That's when my creativity just went out the roof. My background is human resources, is training and development. So I've always had to do presentation, PowerPoints, content development, all those things. So PowerPoint was fun to me, just to develop the graphics and things like that. And that was my happy place. So even start, designing graphics and became a Canva expert. And next thing I know, people asking me, how much would you charge? I'm like, this is just this is my happy place. I didn't even think about it becoming a business, but that was healing for me. Whenever I start, I get in a zone and I just start designing different things, and it's actually become, as they say, my side hustle. I enjoy doing, which my main work. I call it work. It's not a job. There's a difference between work and job. Your work is what you were born to do. A job was what you trained to do. So I enjoy my work, and really and truly, I'm a coach, leadership and life coach. But I added that to that. But that is my happy place. So I said all that to say, you have to heal before you can go forward. Because if I was still where I was before 2020, I couldn't do the things that I do now, move forward into the ministry, into the things that God has for me to do. It's urgent that you have to admit that you have an issue. You have to. That's number one. Take action. Get a therapist. It's okay. Like I said, it's okay to go lie on somebody's couch. I've done it and do it again if I need to. So I just really wanted to share with you guys. It has really been in my heart to go get the help you need. Start 2022 off the right way. And I'm going to tell you this, it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, but you have to go through this journey if you want to be and do, be the person that God designed you to be, to go out and work for the kingdom.
Let me unmute myself. Thank you, Sarita. Thank you so much. And I know there are so many other points that you can tap into, even with your experience in life and my experience, whether it's Takira's experience. But when you have we know of times that we've been hurt. And if we did not address those experiences in our lives, or that trauma that has occurred in our lives, we would be a mess. We would definitely be a mess. Just like you said with relationships, one person hurt us and God has someone else waiting for us. But because we've taken that baggage in that relationship and those emotions and all of that into the new thing, no, we have to be healed from the previous so that we can actually enjoy and appreciate the present. Definitely so. I love it because one of the things you said as well is finding out who you are. That is so important.
Yes.
I mean, you can idolize someone so much so that you begin to speak like them, act like them, dress like them. No, God made you unique in a unique way. You are wonderfully made. And we have to recognize that. We have to appreciate that. We don't look like everyone. Every person on this earth has a different thumbprint or fingerprint, and God made us that way. So why would we want to be like someone else? And I can really, really say that for myself, because growing up, we didn't have a whole lot of, we didn't have many African-American successful people. So I kind of like looked at the other race and like, wow, I wish I could be like them. And that tell you how small my mind was. And then when I got of age and I began to become more knowledgeable and find out who I am, no, I'm like, how could you think that? How could you think that? But I mean, we appreciate them, but I don't want to be like them. And it's finding out who you are, because some of the things that had happened growing up, had I carried them into my adulthood without addressing them, I would be a mess. And I love it as well when you talked about getting a therapist. Well, the therapists have therapists.
Exactly. Exactly.
They definitely do, because with people bringing all their problems to them, who are they going to take their problems to, or even find out who they are? Again, going back to finding out who you are. And then when you do find out who you are, you're free from all that other stuff. And you refuse, at least I refuse, to go back to who I was, because God has brought me up and out of. And I so appreciate it. I so appreciate it. And I'm still learning who Portia, Elaine, Stanley, Wheatley is. Oh, God. And I do appreciate it, but I'll never go back to who I was. And the last but not least, talk about the healing or your happy place. And that's part of the healing. Find your happy place. Find your happy place. Reading could be your happy place. Shopping, but not excessive, or even shopping, but shopping for someone else. And that could become a business. Hobbies and just different things that you do. One, just like, what is her name? She was just here. She did my makeup. Oh,
Deborah
yes. Johnson. And she says she loves doing it. That's her happy place. Yes. She loves doing it, but yet she can be compensated for it. So and that's her side job, and not a job, but she enjoys doing it. But it is amazing when you really find yourself and the creativity comes up out of you.
Yes.
It's in there. Yes. Sarita, it is in there. And we just have to take the time, pull back from everything else. My favorite saying, sit with ourselves and find out who we are. It is amazing. I'm telling you. And once you do, you come and tell us. You were getting ready to say something?
Yeah. And I want to say this too. Like I said, my background is funny. It's funny how my background aligned with my ministry. My background is human resources. So I have seen just family members and people, so many people are working in these jobs, in these careers, and they're miserable because that's what society say we're supposed to do. Or if my dad was a doctor, my grandfather was a doctor, I need to be a doctor. But you don't, or my mom was a teacher, my great-grandma, my aunts are teachers. I'm going to be a teacher, but I don't like children.
It's true.
So, we have to find who we be. And I know that's not good English, but you have to find your true being. I refuse to go back. I went all this time and I am grateful for, the school, the degree, with everything I went through, my background, but to find that happy place, and, to really be able to, I love working with people. I love, developing professional and personal developing. I love to see people excel and to be able to make money while you're doing it. And it doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't feel like you're just part of who you are, your being. So, but if you haven't healed and you still have those issues, you can't truly find out who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do according to the word of God.
Yeah, when we're not healed, it weighs us down, and God wants us to soar. He wants us to soar to really high heights, but we can't do it weighted down.
Exactly.
We're saying release a little at a time, but you have to be intentional about it. Be focused on doing that. You may not do it overnight, but little by little, it will happen.
Exactly.
The healing process.
And many times too, we have, especially if you're close to your family, that can be the main thing. What is my family going to say? Or my family won't support me. So I'm going to stay stuck in doing what I'm doing because I'm people pleaser. There you go.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. It depends on, but you have to break free of all that. I tell you, it's a freedom that I have never in my life imagined that I would be experiencing right now. I just love life. I love what I'm doing, and I love being able to help people, other women especially, to excel, to find out who they're being, who they really are, and what they're supposed to be, the work that God assigned them to do.
And you know what? It reminds me of when you see a beautiful young lady, and you can see on her face, her facial expressions, that she doesn't think well of herself. And it's
Yes.
because many people over the years have told her, otherwise told her, you look a mess, or why do you do this? Or everything negative.
Yes.
And it absorbed into her very being. But once she gets to that point of being free of those external voices, and she began to realize who she is and how God made her, once she's free of that, it will begin to show on her face.
Yes.
It will.
Yes.
It will. And then it was like, oh, hell no, I am not going back to where I was. No. You can stay there, but no, I'm not. I'm gone. I've begun to soar, and I refuse to go back. I refuse. Kira.
Yes. I have some things to say. I think that this topic is very important, and I think it's going along with what we have been talking about the past couple days and even into last week. And you said the first step was like to admit that you're hurting. So one good way to admit that you are hurting is to do the homework that we were assigned by Mother Bam, day 356. Please go back and look at that, viewers, if you have not seen it. She told us to take a piece of paper and to make 3 columns, and to write down your strengths, your weaknesses, your goals, and your desires. Mm-hmm. And she said, go way, way back from the beginning. So when you were a little girl or a little boy, and see what got in your way. And the reason you're doing that is to look for patterns in your life of things that may have gone wrong, you know? And that's a good way to kind of uncover those hurts that maybe you've put in the back of your mind. You know, you don't want to talk about them, but you're like, well, why do I keep finding myself in this situation? Or why are my friendships this way? And it could be because of something that traumatized you in your past or hurt you in your past that you have not dealt with. So I just want to encourage you all to just go back and look at that video and do that homework, because all of that connects to today. And even when you were talking about taking time and sit with yourself and reflect, if you guys have not noticed, the ones who've been keeping up with us every day, all of this is connecting. And it's so amazing to me because our guests have not talked to each other about, you know, what they're going to talk about. So it's like divinely connected, you know? So do that homework. Take time to sit with yourself so that you can start that healing process, because ultimately, like we've said before, we just want you to be your best self, and we want you to be who you were born to be, the person you really are, not the person who got their feelings hurt or had things bad things happen to them, you haven't gotten over it or haven't dealt with it. And when I say get over it, I'm not saying get over it like it never happened, but be able to have peace with yourself that this has happened to me, but it does not define me. So I just want to encourage you all to do that. And then that's when you can say, okay, I'm still hurt in this particular area. So let me take some action to work on it. And that's when you can start working on yourselves. And then that's when we will all see the beautiful person that we've always seen, but now you realize it. And when you realize it, like Ms. Portia said, it just starts to radiate from within. And then that's when you can start changing your sphere of influence and doing what you were born to do. So I just want to, thank you for coming and sharing this topic. A lot of people talk about, you know, you need to be healed so you don't bleed on other people, but they don't say how to do it. They don't give you the steps to do it. So maybe someone has heard that before, but they're like, well, how do I get over this horrible thing that has happened to me? Or how do I get over the hurt that my family or my friends have done? So follow these steps, guys. Admit what's going on and do that by doing what I said before. Take action, find a solution, and I'm telling you, you will find your happy place.
Find that happy place.
Look, that was good.
Yeah, yes.
That was good.
Thank you.
That's Takira Swine. That's Takira Swine.
That was wonderful.
Nothing but God.
I know, right?
It's wonderful. I tell you, whatever people need, God's got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Information, resources, whatever it is that will help you, aid you in being healed. And especially when you just ask him. you know, because everyone doesn't have the money to go to see a therapist. Mm-hmm. But God is always there. And you don't have to come with thous and thee and cometh and withereth and just come, yo, daddy, you know, Father God, you know, just simple everyday language. And he understands your heart. If you want to be healed, he's right there to do it. All right. Oh, this was so good. Like my granddaughter used to say, Grandma, this is going to be so much good. This was really good. Yes, Talia, you said that. Grandma is going to be so much good. Anyway, we thank you again for coming and sharing your heart. We really appreciate it, because when individuals actually share from their heart, you can feel the spirit in which they share it. You know, you can, it's not a word of being condescending or anything. It's just where it just flows from your very being. And as our spiritual father says, I be what God says I be, and I refuse to be anything else. I'll be it now and nothing else. Be it now. So audience, we encourage you to actually, let me see, what is the name of Archbishop's Monday night apostolic encounters? Go to Mondays, this past Monday's apostolic encounters, and listen at Archbishop Ralph Dennis' message. It talks about finishing strong and starting strong. So that, you know, I don't care if he talks 1 minute or 111 minutes or something. My man has something always great to say. And it's a great message to end this year with and begin next year. All right. God bless you, Sarita. Thanks again. I so appreciate you. Another one of my Soul Wealth sisters. We love you. We love you, sis. God bless you, Takira. We shall see everyone tomorrow. This is the countdown. Oh, 2 more days. 2 more. Is it 2 more? Today's Wednesday. There's 2 more days.
2 more days.
2 more days. Okay. We love you. God bless you. And we will see you again tomorrow. Take care, Sarita, until we see you again.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.